On a rainy weeknight, in a quiet American suburb, a black woman found herself face down on the hood of her own car, hands cuffed behind her back, red and blue lights strobing across her terrified eyes. The traffic light above her blinked uselessly, stuck on red in all directions, broken for days, and the white officer gripping her wrists so tightly that her fingers went numb had no idea that the ID in her pocket could end his career. Maya Carter had seen that light malfunction the past 3 nights on her way home from the federal building downtown. She never drove recklessly. She did everything by the book. Full stop, look both ways twice, proceed when it was clearly safe. Years of working on civil rights cases had drilled into her that one careless second could change everything, especially for someone who looked like her. On this night, she was exhausted, her blazer tossed in the back seat, curls pulled back, wearing a simple orange t-shirt and jeans. To anyone driving by, she looked like any other young black woman heading home after a long day. The moment she eased through the intersection, she saw the flash of headlights accelerate behind her. A second later, the cruiser's sirens screamed to life, lights firing in the dark like accusations. Maya's stomach dropped. She signaled, pulled over calmly, and put the car in park. Hands on the steering wheel. 10-2, just like every safety video told her. Her dash cam, mounted under the rearview mirror, blinked red as it recorded everything. The officer approached fast, heavy boots thudding against the wet pavement, rain spitting around him. He wasn't just cautious, he was charged, jaw clenched, breath sharp. He wrapped his flashlight against her window harder than necessary. Maya lowered it just enough to speak, both hands still visible on the wheel. "Evening, officer," she began carefully. "Is there a problem?" "You blew through a red light," he snapped, leaning in so close she could smell coffee and something bitter on his breath. "License and registration, now." "The light at that intersection is broken," Maya said softly. "It's been stuck red all week. I came to a full stop. I didn't ask for excuses." He cut her off, eyes narrowing as they swept over her face, her hair, her t-shirt. Her heart pounded, but her voice stayed steady. She reached slowly toward the glove compartment, narrating each move the way all the community trainings recommended. "I'm going to get my registration. My license and work ID are in the passenger seat. I'm going to pick it up with my right hand." He watched every inch of her movements, hand resting on his holster. The rain tapped impatiently on the roof. From the corner of her eye, Maya saw silhouettes gathering on the sidewalk, drawn by the lights and shouting.
If you think this little guy is cute, please hit like and subscribe, or else this man will knock on your doorstep tomorrow.
She passed her driver's license and a slim leather wallet through the gap in the window. Tucked inside was a gold-trimmed ID card bearing the seal of the United States Department of Justice. Under her photo, in bold letters, it read, "Senior Investigator, Civil Rights Division." The officer flicked his gaze at her driver's license, barely looked at the federal ID behind it, and scoffed. "Maya Carter," he read aloud. "Address on Oak Street. Step out of the vehicle." "I'm happy to answer any questions from here," she said, "but for my safety, I'd like to know why—" His voice rose, sharp and hostile. "Step out of the vehicle." Maya felt the familiar conflict twist in her chest, the one she'd heard from witnesses 100 times. Fight for your rights and risk escalation, or comply and hope to survive the night. She slowly opened the door and stepped into the cold wash of the headlights, rain dampening her hair. The cruiser behind her painted the street in pulsing red and blue. "Turn around, hands on the hood," he ordered. "Officer, with respect, I stopped at that light," Maya said, her voice trembling despite her effort to stay calm. "The intersection camera, the dash cam in my car, they'll show that. And my identification?" He grabbed her wrist, twisting it back. Pain shot up her arm. "You're obstructing and arguing," he said. "You people never learn, do you?" The phrase, "you people,"
cut more deeply than the metal against her skin. The bystanders on the sidewalk shifted, some raising phones. One woman gasped as Maya was shoved against the hood of her own car, cheek pressed to the cold metal, palms spread wide. "I'm not resisting," Maya said loudly, forcing each word out. "I'm Maya Carter. I'm a federal civil rights investigator. My credentials are in the wallet you're holding." He snapped the cuffs on her wrists so tight they bit into her skin. "Fake badges are a felony," he muttered. "We'll sort that out downtown." Her mind raced. Part of her was shaking with fear. Another part was already cataloging details with the detached focus of an investigator. His badge number, his tone, the broken traffic light behind them still glowing red in all directions, the blinking dash cam, the witnesses with phones lifted. Everything she'd told other victims to pay attention to, she now breathed in like oxygen. Another patrol car rolled up, lights adding more chaos to the scene. A younger officer stepped out, shoulders tense but eyes unsure. He approached, glancing from Maya to the older officer still gripping her arm. "What do we have?" the younger one asked. "Failure to stop at a red, obstruction, possible false federal ID," the first officer said, waving the wallet dismissively. "Think she's some big shot." "Can I see that?" the younger officer asked. He took the wallet, flipped it open, and this time actually looked. Maya watched his expression change. His eyes darted from the ID to her face, then to the first officer. Sergeant," he said quietly, voice tightening, "you might want to take a closer look. This is real." The older officer frowned, snatched the ID back, and held it up nearer to the streetlight. The gold seal glinted under the rain. His eyes moved slowly over the words, "Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division." His smirk faded, color draining from his face. Maya lifted her head as much as the cuffs allowed. "Like I said," she said, each word measured, "I investigate cases of police misconduct and civil rights violations. I was on my way home from work." For a long moment, all anyone could hear was the patter of rain and the hiss of idling engines. The bystanders stopped murmuring. Even the radios seemed to quiet. The older officer cleared his throat. "Well, there may have been a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding is getting my name wrong. This is unlawful detention, excessive force, racial profiling on a street with a broken light you've apparently ignored for days." He swallowed. The younger officer shifted uncomfortably. "Sergeant," the rookie said carefully, "her dash cam is recording, and so is mine. We should probably call a supervisor." Within minutes, a lieutenant arrived, the weight of authority visible in the way he moved, the way every other officer straightened when he stepped into the light. He listened to a rushed, stumbling explanation from the older officer, then turned to Maya, still cuffed against the hood. "Ms. Carter, is it? May we remove the cuffs and talk?" "You may remove the cuffs, but anything else needs to go through my office, and I want the footage from every camera preserved. No edits, no technical errors. I know exactly what your retention policies are."
The lieutenant nodded to the younger officer, who quickly unlocked the handcuffs. Pins and needles flooded Maya's hands as she straightened, rubbing her wrists. The older officer looked anywhere but at her. "Ma'am, on behalf of the department," the lieutenant began. "This isn't about your department's reputation," Maya said. "It's about what happened on this street, to me and to every person who doesn't have a federal ID when something like this happens. I will be filing a formal complaint, and I will be requesting all traffic camera footage from that broken light. That signal puts people in danger, and tonight you decided I was the problem instead of fixing it." The lieutenant's jaw tightened. He knew who she was now, what division she worked in, and what it meant if she followed through. "Understood," he said quietly. "We'll cooperate fully." Weeks later, the same officer who had pushed her against her own hood sat stiffly in an internal affairs hearing, watching his own body cam footage frame by frame. The panel saw the broken light, the complete stop she had made,
The way he had ignored her calm explanations. The way his words sharpened when he saw her skin color instead of her credentials. They watched the moment his face changed when he finally read her ID. They watched the rookie's uneasy expression, the phones in the background, the fear in her eyes. Maya testified not as a victim alone, but as a professional. She talked about patterns she had seen in hundreds of complaints, about how quickly assumptions solidified into force, especially late at night, on quiet streets, when the person pulled over looks like me. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't have to. The footage spoke louder than anything. Disciplinary action followed. The traffic light, mysteriously ignored for days, was repaired within 24 hours of the incident becoming official. But for Maya, the most important change wasn't the suspension on the officer's record or the memo about de-escalation training. It was the conversation she had a month later with the rookie, who requested a meeting. "I'm sorry," he told her, hands twisting nervously. "I should have spoken up sooner. I saw it in his face, the way he approached your car. I didn't stop him. I won't be silent like that again." Maya studied him for a moment, then nodded. That's what accountability is. Not just punishment. Learning. Changing. Using your voice next time, especially when no federal ID is around to scare anyone into doing the right thing. On a different night, on a different case, she drove through another intersection, this time with a perfectly working light. She stopped on green for just a second longer than necessary, breathing in the stillness. Her dashcam blinked quietly, an unblinking witness. Her wrists had healed, but the memory of cold metal and hot humiliation lingered like a bruise beneath the skin. As she pulled away, she thought of everyone who didn't have a badge, who didn't have a federal title to make an officer freeze. She thought of cameras, on dashboards, on phones, on street corners that could help level the story when the word of an officer and a citizen collided. And she thought of the power of people who refused to look away. Thank you for staying with this story of courage, injustice, and accountability on the road. If it moved you or opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Help spread awareness, demand fairness, and support those who are still fighting to be treated with dignity at every stoplight in this country. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing for more stories that shine a light on injustice and remind us all why empathy, truth, and courage still matter.
Thank you for watching DashCam and Justice Stories. You love more stories like this? Click the videos above and see you there.